Fire on the mountain, fire, fire for fire. Always gonna be fire. Big up to the, good afternoon to Salone, to the world at large, with neighboring countries there, the entire Mano River. Big up to the also South, North, East Africa, conflicts and just massive. Big up to that once more on a boy guitars, Muslims the Savants, aka Bepeko, what it do, what it does, what's popping, what's papa lacking. When I let we kick off, you know, let we get hot. Before we start for discuss small about South Sudan, well I pull the glasses. I do that intentionally for start with her, because Saloma is quick for rush and jump into perception step. You know, but some of you now we need the answer, you know. So God don't pull we not go again. God don't pull we there. Maybe we not still did it. So all come out put on glasses. Some they get perception step. We just one bit to a small number with just few words step. You wrong. You wrong. You think too much. Your perceptions then super smart. Think positively. Inside Ghana, before we talk about Sudan, let's start with Ghana. Ghana, they only put policies them in place. The lawmakers then don't they put policies there in place relating or regards to LGBT or lesbian, gay, homosexuality, etc., etc. Why make a very, to me, influential for discuss this, especially inside Saloya. So we will try for mimic or copy what the Ghanaians they do. Because we can't with culture, with tradition stem, and with history alone, the longest country in this West African, coast, we get massive history more than we all. None of the Ghanaians stem. None of the Ghanaians stem. The Ghanaians stem are the only one or the king stem, we don't want to bow to Queen Elizabeth. They say not worth it. Because they dealt thief history from Ghana. Most of we move na Saloya now after slavery. But people then be they migrate. We believe say the Limba be done na Saloya before they move the slaves then we be they oversee na the America or the diaspora and face and camp Salone. They become meet people in a Salone. But I believe say we all be the network with Ghana. They be used for call Ghana the Gold Coast. Because then they'll exploit Ghana, the Europeans. So a very serious for what they look up to the Ghanaians because their history is deep, long, and they ought to know better. They know now whether are the good one them and whether they are the bad one them, etc., etc. And then they don't put some policies there for the LGBT groups there. If they find you guilty, you must face up to 3 to 5 years imprisonment. They need to tolerate them, not Ghana. Then culture, then tradition, then society, no they accept this. What is society? The people vote based on this decision. About 97% they for it. For ban this sickness, let it not come in the country. About 97% votes for it. So what's in the Europeans and they do? Well, you know, say they don't make this tier big inside Kenya. This LGBT tier based on poverty. And most Africans want a homosexual stem. Some then I start to, but some then they go pick up this disease overseas and face and come back home. Some then go pick up this disease overseas, whether in the UK, America, Australia, Canada. You go pick them up some side. You want to face and come back now you home. And when they not tolerate this, you say they don't discriminate against you. And we get groups them with their European or their American, groups there where they support them causes there in Africa. So now what's in they do? They use the Kenyans them for interview the Ghanaians them. Because they know I make it look like a white man, they interview the blacks. But what's in they want to do? They want to pour this sickness in Africa. It already there, Saloon. Any side you see them talk about rainbow business or you see rainbow colors them, it represents homosexuality. We get rainbow groups them inside Saloya. But then just no one come out and identify themselves, say, this is a homosexuality group or a LGBT group. What governments they support. Then they come slowly. But then colors then are rainbows. Where you go now the United States, now rainbow, any state to say you go where you see rainbow color, now homosexuality is the lady. If you look right now inside America, even then transsexuals they don't begin to come as journalists them now the media. If they say a transsexual, a man with a dress like woman, they represent the female attributes but a man, they get now the rights for kind of the media and talk to me and you. So if you resident things there every day on TV, you watch film, they encourage homosexuality. You watch, comedy episodes them, they encourage homosexuality. Everything what you watch or what you see, they encourage homosexuality. One day you will be content to act. That's how I go and put her. One day you go sit down with homosexuality people there, and it go easy for me to fix you go inside because all what you don't see, what you don't observe, it go become normal to you. But it's not normal. Now a sickness within their own country, where they want transfer come na Africa. Why make no left this batty boy business in their own countries there? Now this na the money. Now this na the money boku Africans them. More the Africans them we wise enough. For now say this batty boy business now lead to HIV, AIDS, and other sick them. Way easy for kill with the Africans there and will not even get cure for HIV or AIDS today. Inside South Africa, we not the see. Inside Nigeria, we not the see. The batty boy business done big inside Nigeria. We not fit for me make the Nigerians them. I'm sorry for say this, but that's not the fact. Because of poverty, LGBT groups they don't major inside Nigeria. If you watch the porn, if you watch porn or whatsoever, because I can see things them. I can see things them. I can see things them. All over Nigeria and batty boy business. Just for money making. Because of poverty. Because of poverty. And this is shameful to me, the Africans. So Ghana don't stand firm. Uganda don't stand firm. We get countries the way they stand firm, say we don't want this sickness, or we don't want this sickness in their country. I wonder now with we own small countries there, we're not able to become viable or vibrant for serving society. If they go stand firm with same decisions there, or we go just accept. Now some of me concerns than this. We get judges them inside Ghana, policy makers them. We totally they veto their nonsense there. They don't run parts in their own country. They want something they can't do it. They don't even get cure for it. And one question what they always ask them, if this thing is a disease or a sick, cure they for, they able cure them. Cure not there for batty boy business. Now you the more time, now you they decide. Say, I want to go Paris. Cure not there for. Now you mind where sick, now you make you go pa. If you mind not be sick, you not go pa. So the only cure, now you for cure, you mind. We say all them things the way they watch every day where they influence you for make this thing look normal. Now you eyes them. But it's not normal. So I want to say big up to Ghana for them step towards, the betterness of Africa. And what's in a work now one man in country, it don't mean say it work now the next man in country. Now this they need for understand. There was a time where actually I picked this concept up, but I repeat it once more to you. There was a time females do not get rights for votes inside America. Because now them beyond setting be that. There was a setting. There was a time black people do not get rights for votes inside America. Now be their own cultural setting that. Nobody not disputes that. The world not get nothing for do with that. Not only time make them things they are change. Only time make them things they are change and begin to accept females them for vote. There was a time homosexuality not be major, not be respectable. But now, the United States is respectable to most, not to all. Evolve. Pardon me once more, we get interrupted. You know, data business. But big up once more, we don't come back live. You know. So again, we just want to continue for enforce it. Their own settings then when they begin at their own country. Certain time them be there, nobody not be able to dispute. Now what's in them be want, what's in work for them. So now so they need for respect Africans them. What's in the work for we, now we go accept based on we own tradition, we own culture. You know, what's inviable to we, what's more reasonable to we. We don't want copy and paste. Not all they over under one copy and paste now. Yeah. You know, we get a way of doing things still. And I hope say some of the leaders them, especially Salon, could they think of their attributes there. Salon gets a culture. We're not to Americans still, we're not to Europeans still. You know? Even though we talk pidgin English. You know? But we are Africans. We leaders need for beginning to realize this. And I can feel like say some of the leaders them even corrupt. Some of the leaders them, we don't know some of them, but some of them they party sickness. You know? If see boy picking in the way of talking begin to change, must not say something not begin to go inside in us. If see boy picking in way of waka begin to change, must not say something not go inside in us. If see in style naturally just change, it just too feminine. Something wrong somewhere somehow. And then sickness and you will not want. Because again poverty they kill we massively. Most men have don't discuss this. Unable be man to be picking them, to be breath them, etc., etc. They want to face this sickness for reduce we all the way down. We're not responsible enough. Now one can't turn me to batty boy. Not to die, not to sick, not to corruption. You know able be man. Now they want go. They don't need for even cut your balls again for make you less of a man. Then just to turn you to homosexual. You're not to boy picking again. You're not to boy picking again. You're not a weak link. A weak link to society. A weak link to manhood. Then make you man. Allah bless you. It make you man. You won't go turn woman. You know? Well, now we continue. This topic here, it came on a Tasmo. Let's be honest too now. It came on a Tasmo. You know? It came on me. Then this topic here. You know? Because the movement, it done massively. For coming South Africa. It's already there in South Africa. But we need for fair way for send them back. For send them back to them. We don't want to discuss. You know? Inside Sudan. Lobby Church now, Sudan. Some people that can talk, then talk there. You know, we get Boku Sierra and say we don't want to listen to this. Because them back there inside the sickness. They inside the dirty. They inside the cabal. You know, the pig habit. Now the pig habit. You know? We know some of una. You know, they all change una. Inside Sudan, what really they cause this conflict? I know some don't they watch or hear different opinions them or views them. You know? One thing we for learn, again, where they fetch battle step, learn for fetch by yourself. Learn for fetch by yourself. The day where they incorporate somebody for can help you fetch battle. That person they don't know your weakness. They don't know your strength. Now that same person they go turn by you one day. Now go and fetch you. Now I make all people like advise me sometimes. Tasmo, get people and we go to cost for you in the media. Get people and we go to attack people and we they attack you. I can laugh. Wisdom na something. And Tasmo too wise. I don't get beaucoup sense so, but wisdom can work for me sometimes. You know? I grew up in a gang world. From 15, 16, 17, 18, I involved in my own small group of gang. You know, then begin to travel, begin to affiliate with gang members them. And there was a time in my life, I know it be the wrongest thing I ever involved with. Because when involved in gang activities them, you never they work out peacefully. You always go for watch you back. You always go for work out with weapons them. You know? So now that's make Tasmo the way they do. Even if I get 10 million people and it costs me, I don't need nobody for retaliate for Tasmo. Because Tasmo go fetch this battle by himself. You know? So what's going on inside Sudan is something similar to this. We'll get two groups them, or two army inside Sudan where they fight for power. We want control power. And the biggest conflict is based on integration. Integration. What do we mean by integration? For first can two parties them together. For first can and two groups they are together. Now let me understand. The army of Sudan, one of the army what the government know of, now then be incorporate this RSF, the Rapid Support Unit, or we can call it the paramilitary unit or forces, paramilitary forces, but a rapid support unit. Now then creates this rapid support unit here, or force, per se. In 2019, there was a civil conflict. There was a civil conflict with protesters where they look for the viability of democracy. You know, but the army, the need for fair way for control, then people are. Civil conflict take place 2019. So they need again the aid of the RSF people are, the Rapid Support Unit. Before this Rapid Support Unit become RSF, they be used for call them the Janjaweed or the Janjaweed militia group. Now the militia group. The Janjaweed or Janjaweed militia group. That be a militia group. What them back, we go consider them as rebels them. But since the army not be able, control the civilians them, things them be go out of control, then seek the help of them Janjaweed people there. So the Janjaweed become incorporated to the army, not totally, but as a separate group we can for help the army for fight against the people there. And they become victorious because people them look for democracy. The army not be wants that at the moment. RSF come, they support. People then become mute. They become mute. So again now, the army incorporates them and then transform from the Janjaweed to the RSF or paramilitary support unit to the army. But let me now understand how what's going on. Well now, ministers don't come, prime ministers don't come, leaders don't come, but this army leader who they call Abdul, and then they allow them for lead. The moment when they come for lead small, a fair reason stand for pull them out of office. It look like say Mr. Abdul, where they head the army, he want control the country. As a dictator. He really want control the country. Because they allow no civilian person or personnel for lead this country. And that's what they imply of democracy. Democracy in a civilian elite, but the military and the police, they subdue under, the civilian ruling. Well, inside Sudan, no one wants to. This army general, Mr. Abdul, no one wants to. So what's in there going on now? It don't incorporate Saint Janjaweed people there, don't turn into RSF or paramilitary support units. Now they want to integrate these two groups here together. The army say inside 2 years, these paramilitary support units will be part of the army. These rapid support units will be part of the army. Well, this rapid support unit say, no, it's too soon. He said, we now become integrated yet. They want maybe 10 years more. Why they want 10 years more? Because then criminals say, them back to control major parts of the country. That's Sudan. They exploit the minerals them. They do deals them with foreign groups them where you can to gold. And don't forget, also South Sudan gets oil. Other conflict that take place inside South Sudan. Now with the talk of Sudan first in general. Then they control major areas them of Sudan, this RSF, and they mine gold, etc., etc. Let me just, for make things simple, they make money. They make money. So if we, as we are independent group, they make money, we support the army. But when they make money, when they control the country, maybe 1/3 of the country, or maybe two-thirds of the country. It all depends how you look at her. They don't want subdue to the military or the army commander or the brigadier, one of the general, Mr. Abdul. They don't want subdue to her. Because then they see money. Then they make money. Same thing with Mr. Abdul, one of the army, general. Then back they control certain parts of the country. But then back they do illegal dealing stuff. Then back they make money. So this paramilitary support, then say no. 2 years, it's too short. When I give it 10 years, after 10 years, we go join una. But if I don't wait for 10 years, when it's una want, una face anchor. So now the war is where they take place inside Sudan. Based on integration. Based on integration. Now what's in the heart of this conflict? Well, interest groups in it. Oh, they talk of interest groups in it. Any side war day, or any side conflict day, money did it. I want make Leona believe me what talk this talk here, or this talk what they talk to. The war will take place in a saloon. Money be there now make, foreign groups and they support. With diamonds them, with golds them, etc. People in there will be they support the war in a saloon. Whether or not they be they support you with weapons them, bullets them, for let the rebels them capture certain area and continue to do their mining them. And once they don't do their mining them, whatever they exploit or remove or abstract, then go sell them to their interest groups there or their foreign groups there, which was the United Kingdom or America, etc. So there be the benefits from we. The only thing what them be they do, give me weapons and bullets and for fed to serve. And will not be the benefits from this. So even the one that will be do all the killings them, no benefits from this. Because at the end of the day, them back go. But the one that will benefit more, now then Europeans them, or the Americans them, or the Russians them. I make you understand this. So any outside war day, money did it. And you will see interest groups then go there for make sure they take advantage of the possibility for become wealthy. So now inside Sudan, they blame Libya for support the RSF. They say Libya, they support RSF. They blame Saudi Arabia also for support the RSF. But I know say Saudi Arabia then corrupt. Very corrupt. So this is shock me. Libya and Saudi Arabia, not a pool. How then two countries they are go support this paramilitary support unit? There's a conflict of interest. But other sources they say Saudi Arabia they support the army. But that's not make sense because now Egypt we know of where they support the army. Egypt they support the army. Now they say again UAE they support this RSF paramilitary support unit. Well, it look like say na gamble. Now would I then think say go win this battle, now ain't go get the most support. So for example now that they accuse Libya, Saudi Arabia, UAE for support this RSF. And the RSF not to the army itself inside Sudan. The army itself, they're saying that Egypt supports them. And Egypt and they put also with Saudi Arabia. Another conflicting thing, also, they say Russia they inside it, the Wagner's them. Then they're there for do business. Then they're there for exploit. Say Russia, they need money. They need money right now for sponsor the war against Ukraine. So any outside war there, Russia go able to go capitalize, then they go there. As long as they able to get oil, gold, or any other minerals them for help them cause for fetch the war inside Ukraine. So Russia, they inside Sudan, Libya, they participate, Saudi Arabia, they participate, Egypt, they participate, UAE, they participate. Let me also not forget Ethiopia. Ethiopia, maybe they support one of them groups there because around 2019 or earlier, the same army of Sudan, we don't partner again with this RSF for counter the Ethiopian system. There was a conflict for counter the Ethiopian system. So any outside conflict, if the Ethiopians themselves not defeat, they must support one side because then two groups there, we don't face problem, now their own areas. Conflict of interest. You know, so the war inside Sudan, it will stop. And before we continue, don't forget to Sudan gets a major landscape inside East Africa. One of the major landscapes in Africa, Sudan. Where you amalgamate South Sudan and Sudan itself, country not there for, them, for this place here, inside Africa. They're major. So if see they able to corrupt Sudan, up to now they corrupt Sudan. What side you think say they're not going to corrupt again? Now this I want to make less salon people and think, or let we leaders and think. You know? If them people are able to corrupt Sudan, what side again they're not able to corrupt? And it's all about exploitation. Sometimes what you can kind of in mind, I can wish to Allah that Africa not be ever gets what we call minerals them. If Africa not be ever gets gold, diamond, bauxite, whatsoever, maybe this killings are not going to take place now with part of the world. Maybe we're not going to affect ourselves. It's all about the minerals and it creates conflict. And we're not going to be able to exploit, you know, we own minerals. For example, let me say, even if we get the machine for exploit minerals in a saloon, we'll get a leader. That leader, they begin to exploit, they excavate the minerals there. Excuse me. Begin to excavate the minerals there. At the end of the day, they begin to see money. They're not going to ever left power. They're not going to ever left power. Because they don't see money based on minerals. Another conflict. And now again, we don't allow other foreign groups for can excavate the minerals there. It's still a fiscal conflict. Whether we do or other people can do we still experience the conflict. So I make a talk say, I wish Africa not be get things there. Maybe the war go the other side. The conflict can go the other side. You know? So inside Khartoum, it's not easy for the people that left the capital city or Khartoum. It's not easy for the people that left the capital city and migrate to go other side, like neighboring countries there as Chad, etc., etc. Because then they're at the center of the capital. For they come on at the capital, till you go to the border areas them, it's far. So anybody now wouldn't see the what kind of streets they pass now streets, you know, they get shot at. They snipe you down. And the RSF, they blame the military for killing civilians them. The military, they blame the RSF, send them back, they go to civilians their homes, they go and kill people there. Both sides, they do killings them based on power. And you know, so when it comes to power, they look at and say, now a sacrifice. We go for sacrifice so many people there, or so many ships there. Now this them call the casualties of war. You know, why we don't sacrifice so many people there? One person will most panic or fear or say no come to resolution. So now would I more wicked, now ain't go for succeed by this. Would I more evil, now ain't go for succeed by this. Would I get more arms then, ain't go for succeed by this. Would I get more support from foreign groups then, now ain't go for succeed by this. And so far people and they are against the head of the military. Countries that not let the head of the military, Mr. Abdul. Because they don't tell Mr. Abdul, they relinquish people out of power. Civilians then, we're supposed to run this country, Mr. Abdul, they relinquish them out of position. You know? If you come, you know I listen to the military head, you come on power. You know? So people that don't tire with Mr. Abdul. And I believe that that's make Boku support to go to this RSF unit. If we not take time, when I mark me words them, RSF could become victorious, now then go end up for rule or run Sudan. If we not take time, or if they not take time. You know, over 3,000 injured, about 600 killed, and every day the killing they take place. Even yesterday when I eat, you know, who people learn for respect spread well inside spread firing they take place. They then claim for be Muslim, you know, they claim for be Muslim there, but firing they take place inside Sudan. So Salon there, una love wise up. Now love wise up. This Janjawi, don't turn to RFS. RSF. This Janjaweed group don't turn to the RSF or paramilitary group or support unit. And the young leader, now his name is Mr. Mohammed. So RSF gets Mr. Mohammed. You know, the army gets Mr. Abdul. And then today, don't meet up two generals there. One person for back down. You know? So now the message is for today. No one know the in totals of what's going inside Sudan. You know, if you get battles then for fete, land for fete by yourself. Or with your unit. But when you incorporate another unit, they understand your weakness. One day they will come after you for conquer you. And that to take place inside Sudan. You know? So always land for fete your battles there. Now boy again Charles Muslims the Servant, aka Bepeko, will link up on the next topic. And we need for mimic what's going inside Ghana. We need for beginning to put policies there in place inside Salon that we not want this rainbow business. There rainbow business there. Now I see rainbow in the sky. If I see myself now, I would doubt if I go collect the rainbows them or not. Because I be used for the admire rainbows. But then batty boy I don't take this color here, then see now the young color. You know? And Charles will not like that. Charles will not like that. Well, that's still blessed. We'll go link up later.